Alright, so today we're gonna be doing a whole lot of cooking and I will be making my special butter chicken, which I wish I could say is like a very best kept secret kind of a recipe, but it's actually not. It's just me getting a bunch of things together, putting them in any sort of arbitrary order, and it turning out to be good and kind of praying for a miracle. But it's not that simple. Maybe I'm underselling it just a bit because it just tastes so magical. And so we'll get started. I'm not sure if you'll have a good view, so I'm trying to just starting by cleaning my kitchen. And I've got some oranges just sliced up so I can like eat them. This is not going in the chicken, obviously. It's just for me to sort of, munch on while we eat. And it's gonna be one of those walk you through the stuff kind of recipes. I'm gonna keep occasionally going over to my refrigerator and getting the stuff out. Starting with the key ingredient of a butter chicken, which is of course the chicken itself. And what I do is I refrigerate and marinate and sort of meal prep this stuff mostly on Sunday nights. And of course, when I say Sunday nights, it's more like a ritual, but I tend to follow this pretty religiously. So the first thing is, of course, to get the chicken out of this little sort of frozen over situation. It doesn't smell the best. It's too sort of ripe and sort of like very very sort of garlicky because of course I put generous amounts of topping. The first step is to kind of like defrost this chicken and get it to a certain point where I can start using it. And this I should have done a bit before. Typically when you start planning these meals, you've got to be a bit more sort of pre-planned about it. But I wasn't, obviously, but that's okay. I can still get started. I've got my chopping board. I've got some onions. Onions, like you need one about. And I've got these like chunky sized onions for some reason. So that's gonna be good or bad, whatever. So let's start with that actually. So there we go. I'm gonna start chopping up my onion. This is obviously the first step. And when you chop the onions, you occasionally might want to sort of heat the pan and get started with some ghee and some jeera, the usual stuff, right? That's always a good place to begin. Now these onions are like chunky, by the way. Yeah, like these are not your ordinary sized onions. I don't know what it was. This time the whole batch of onions that I got was like so insanely huge. So insanely huge, I tell you. So I'm gonna start by sort of lighting up the flame, like medium-ish sort of flame with my pan. I'm gonna start chopping the onions. I'm gonna put some ghee in there. Let the water evaporate so that the pan is nice and warm, and then put some ghee in there. And while all of that happens, I'm just chopping my onions. I'm trying to kind of multitask, but I'm also very like chill about it. You know what I mean? Like I don't stress stuff anymore. I've got like my Amul Pure sort of ghee, and I love this like little cow animation on it. It's always such a cute little thing to watch. Gonna kind of like wipe the pan surface because you don't want to put ghee on a wet pan. Yeah, trust me, I learned that the hard way. So just like sort of wipe it over, which is sort of like just a hygiene thing at this point also, and just put like a nice dollop. You just saw the amount of ghee I put in there, sort of like nicely graze the pan. With ghee it's like there's really no upper limit to how much you want to put in there, because with the chicken I'm not sort of putting any oil in the chicken preparation, so it's always okay to sort of now temper the ghee. So I've got a couple of things that I like to temper with, mostly like these big chilies, right? So maybe just 2 of them, depending on how much you're making, sort of temper it. So when I say temper, I don't put solid chilies because that's too much sometimes. So you just sort of see, oh, look at how fancy my nail paint looks. So this iridescent nail paint, and just sort of put this like crushed chili flake situation, but a very desi chili. I hate myself some paprika. I need my flavors to be so desi, right? So I've put some tempered chilies in there. I'm gonna put the second ingredient, which is naturally, jeera. So let's find jeera. Let us find some jeera in there. I don't see it. Jesus, it's always mislabeled. So it says lemon pepper, and it's supposed to be jeera, and just enough jeera, in fact, that it like sort of gets the job done. You can never have too much jeera, to be honest, in Indian cooking. Like you always have some space for jeera. And so it's gonna put to some sort of a, it's gonna create a nice tempering situation. You're gonna put like 1 bay leaf if you want, just for good measure. Honestly, at this point, like whatever goes. I have like this standard tempering that I create, which of course like your free to like do that or not do that. That's really up to you. But like I'm creating this tempering. And the other thing that we want to also, it looks really rich by the way. Smells so rich as well. And then the other thing that I like to add is also cloves. This right here, cloves. So everything here comes in like these small sort of sprinkling jars or whatever. So I'm just gonna put like a nice little clove in there for tempering purposes. Just that. And I'm gonna put like some of my onions just for good measure so that it's got something to cook. Right? And oh, look at the sizzle. Look at that sizzle. Look at that tempering sizzle. So while that happens, I'm gonna cut some more onion as well. So I just wanna like sort of have like different varying degrees of how oniony it is. So the first onions to go in will obviously be more sort of more cooked or whatever, right? And I like to use this squarish thing for making my chicken because Vineet is obviously vegetarian, so he doesn't like when we use the same utensils, which I think I can reason with that. So that's the one thing, just sort of making that. And as we speak, as that happens, I'm gonna sort of, I don't know if I should add more ghee to it. So this is what it looks like. I feel like we could add a bit more ghee just so that it's like, you know, cooking properly through and through. But I don't know, it could just be that that's definitely too much. Maybe just a smidge more. So yeah, just like, you know, we'll just play it by ear when it comes to food and sort of ghee and such. Because like you're gonna be making quite a bit of it. So yeah, okay. Now I definitely have enough ghee. So again, back to just sort of like cutting the onions and getting that all. You'll notice that I've got two waves of putting onions, which again I've repeated that, but it's to get like two different textures of onions because I feel like onion is such a king ingredient. Like, can you imagine making anything without onions? It's just, it feels so insanely impossible, right, to do that. So with onions, I'm super lazy. Lately, I've not been tearing up. Like, I just haven't been tearing up. So I don't know if the onions are just nicer these days, or I'm just like healed from my emotional trauma, or I don't know what it is at this point. But onions don't make me cry anymore. I think I'm full-fledged adult now. Like, it makes no sense. Like, onions don't make me cry anymore. So there we go. There we go. This is it. Just again chopping the onions, not giving much regard to the size and whatnot. I'm okay if it's just a chunkier one as well, because I'm honestly like fine at this point. Just do whatever, right? I mean, at this point, I just want to put like onions into my mix and get started. Just a simple man. I come home, I want to have like a nice little butter chicken. There's really all there is to it. And this is the size of my onions, if you'll believe it. It's gonna go right into the mix. By the way, this is what the mix looks right now. It's like, it's very yellow and sort of like oniony and garlicky and just sort of, there we go. And once this is done, I'm just gonna go ahead and sort of mix my onion in. This is me mixing my onion. I want to be very careful. I've burned my hair, I've burned my faux fur, I've burned all sorts of things when I'm close to the flame, but like in a non-harmful kind of way. So at this point, I've got like chunky onions, like big size. You can see the size of these babies. Okay, now I'm making, it's making me cry just a little bit. Why doesn't my mommy love me? Okay, so back to this. I'm gonna, because it's an 8-minute video, maybe I can come back to you once I've got my chicken defrosted. But you know the drill, it's gonna be just minutes and minutes worth of sort of like defrosting the chicken in the oven. I'm not too fancy about it. I just microwave it at like 900 watts for like freaking 3 minutes, like a little animal. And it works, man, it works. So okay, I'll be back. Alright, so I think I wanted to record this part as well, because like I shouldn't abstract it away. These are the dirty bits where you're picking up like pieces of chicken that you've marinated before, and you're gonna sort of god damn it, man, just sort of oven break them for a bit, like just like very slightly. But it's starting to be a bit chunky, like it's like a bit of a struggle, and also your fingers starting to freeze while you're doing that. So okay, that's a little tough. This should have been definitely behind the scenes. This should have been the behind the scenes. I don't think I want to do this because it just really hurts me to like touch chicken, which is like so cold, super duper cold. And I got this feedback that I cook my chicken twice over when I'm putting it in a pan, obviously, so that also kind of like takes away from Jesus Christ, it's so annoying. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to delete this one.